So recently, Alfuria, who used to go by Mithra, released his third annual GD community rant titled The Actual Problems with the GD Community 3 and Knuckles. I personally really enjoyed the video, and it brought up some major points about the community. I'm not just saying that because, he's my friend, or, he told me I make good content or anything, but seriously, you should watch it. In that video, the biggest issue within the community he brought up was what he dubbed the extreme toxic minority, along with the failure of big community figures to address this issue properly. An issue that he not only spent 5 minutes talking about, but he also ended up so angry about it that he started to scream in frustration about the whole issue. At the end of that segment, he called for the community to finally stand up against the toxicity and bigotry, and finally call out the toxic minority as one. And that's exactly what this is about. I'm joining him on his call to action. Like every other online community, the Geometry Dash community has an extremely toxic minority. These members of the more toxic side of the community tend to be most active on Twitter, and have been responsible for quite a fair share of controversies in the community as of late. While their actions can range from a wide variety of actions, from harassment to death threats to online actions that are considered illegal under US law, hell to even dislike botting levels for no reason whatsoever, I've yet to see any major community figure in the community take a step forward to properly and seriously address many of these claims on any of their platforms. And while you can say that this would just give the attention that they're seeking, these actions are nothing like the GD community has seen before in recent memory. The harassment, the death threats, and the bigotry shown by the toxic minority is something that we can no longer ignore. The only time this has happened before was with Aurora's, and even then, that was just one person. People are getting incessantly harassed, accused of things they didn't do, or false copyright struck on their videos, and it seems like no one seems to care. With all this happening as well, the toxic minority appears to be growing. This would probably be because we've been ignoring these people for so long, and that's why I hope to properly address this right now. While some people have tried to address some of these issues in the past, whether it be casually or a bit more seriously, none of these attempts have managed to make nearly as much of an impact as they could have. Hence why I'm here right now, to take my stab at a bunch of the somewhat big problems that have recently occurred, and the actions of some of the members from the more toxic side of our fan base. With all that said, let's just jump right into it, shall we? I've mentioned the harassment of some of the creators of levels that the community deems to be not rate-worthy before. This was clearly shown when Hero Molten's levels, Golden Palace, and Diamond Palace got rated. These levels may not be the best in terms of visuals or anything, but I can see why people can enjoy them. Then again, it was because of these simple level ratings that people took this as an opportunity to dislike everything Hero Molten's ever said on his Geometry Dash account, and constantly harass him on the GD servers and bash him on all of their social platforms. It's become more apparent now that this is happening with almost every level in the awarded section. As of late, levels have been dislike botted for seemingly no reason. All we know now is that they think it's fun. Well, they're wrong. And unfortunately, this can be applied to the high-level players in the community. Now, not only is it cool to egg on the creators of some of the levels in the game itself, but it's also fun to bully people about how many attempts they take to beat a really hard level. You've all probably heard about the Player 99 situation by now, but if anyone hasn't, the situation boils down to Player 99 taking over 170,000 attempts to beat Photovoltaic 2, only to get bullied about it by a whole bunch of community members. So much so that he deleted his account and straight up quit the game for a while. Whether or not the reaction was appropriate is up to your judgment, but the mere idea of someone getting egged on this hard over something as stupid as being dedicated to a level quite frankly sickens me. Not only this, but after he deleted his account, these clowns continued to bash him for deleting his account. It really does piss me off to see shit like this go down for something as trivial as playing a jumping square game. Whether it's about levels being rated or beaten doesn't matter. Harassing and hate mobbing on these players is absolutely unacceptable by any means, and that's final. Drama is something that is bound to happen every once in a while, especially when it comes to sketchy acts from some of the community members. Things like hacking and the sort, but that's not what I'm here to talk about right now. Oh no man, we're here to talk about the abundance of petty drama. Oh boy, where do I begin? So basically, people are so attention seeking that they'll take any opportunity they get to stir up some useless argument with one another. Usually these arguments are pretty small, but when more popular people get involved, it's safe to say we're in for a ride. Look, drama can be fun to laugh at and all, I get it, but when it becomes something that you're involved with on a daily basis, I just don't understand how that can be fun anymore. A lot of the arguments don't even usually bring up any valid points. Like seriously, when you dig deep enough, it winds up just being a "who says the nastier insult" contest. There are countless examples of this all over the place, and I'm aware that these attention-seeking acts are all over the internet, but for fuck's sake, can we please just try and tone it down a bit? Before we get into this, let me clarify that when done right, shock humor or dark humor can be quite funny. That said, the things that some people find funny here is done in the worst way possible, with most of the things being what they said being downright offensive, especially when the comedic value of these comments are minimal. When your joke is about making fun of someone for who they are or what they identify as, you just come off as a complete asshole. One of the biggest targets who is blamed for most of the toxicity is Dr. Joe. Here's the thing about Dr. Joe. It's babe. Or that's what he says at least, and everyone clowns on those who take him seriously. But the issue is that it's hard to differentiate whether what he says is serious or bait. That is the main problem with accounts like his, and it is seemingly the issue that very few people think of. I actually didn't think I'd have to say anything about this, but the use of terms like the N-word and other offensive slurs is getting to be intoxicating. Regardless of gender, race, sexuality, or anything of the sort, we all deserve respect to some degree, and jokes at the expense of a group of people just isn't really okay in the everyday setting. I'd also like to point out that some of these comments aren't even jokes, and these people mean a lot of what they say seriously, which can lead to death threats to undeserving people, and solely because they're different. Grow up and learn how to be at least somewhat accepting of other people, would ya? Server raiding is one of the least common things in this community, without a doubt, but it has been an issue for quite some time now. Server raids tend to be occasions that are tied to other issues of all things, so I won't stay on this point for much longer than I need to, but geez, the lengths that people are willing to take to spite someone is insane. Something as stupid as spam tagging shouldn't be funny, and neither is abusing explainable roles. It's honestly stupid to think how trivial this sounds, but it's the sort of thing that has been an issue for quite some time now, and in about the last year alone, I've witnessed, heard of, or had to deal with at least 3 of these off the top of my head. Some may say that it's just a Discord server, but here's the thing, you can't recover the memories and experiences that were on that Discord server. It's like if you got a new PC, but your old one with all your files and games was just bombed for no reason. Regardless, it just doesn't feel the same, nor is it the same. It may not seem like much, but the sorts of things that this can do to the owners of these servers is quite more impactful than what you may think. Trust me, I've had my own experiences with this, and it isn't funny, so just please, for the love of God, stop it. It isn't funny, and it never was, and if that wasn't your reason, then talk about it with someone instead. It's incredible to think how many issues we can resolve just by communicating how we think and feel with one another, which I assume to be common knowledge at this point, but obviously not. Like, seriously, there's absolutely no reason to get to the point where we have to take down other people's Discord servers just to make a statement. I'm going to split this into 2 parts because neither of these 2 kinds of accusations are comparable to one another, so that said, let's get into it. You've heard of copywriting ideas, but have you heard of copyright striking people who criticize you? No? Well, welcome to the new stupid content idea abuse in the community. We all know YouTube's copyright system is busted at this point, but the system being busted doesn't mean you're free to just strike down someone else's video just because you don't like it. One infamous player, who I'm too scared to name, has been called out several times in many different ways on several different platforms. While there's only really one person I can think of that'd be behind all of this, I figured it'd just be something to mention in case anyone had any other ideas. Why would you be thinking about something stupid like this anyway? I don't know, just don't do it, please. Next up is something that is arguably a lot more serious, and these are false allegations that could potentially ruin someone else's life. Now, I feel like a lot of people don't realize the weight of what they accuse people of online, but damn if any of these things got blown out of proportion, these people's lives may never, and I mean never, be the same. You've probably already heard about how what goes online can follow you in any and every way possible, but this is completely different. With accusations of pedophilia, sexual harassment, and things of the sort, you're essentially putting these people at risk of losing their freedom. Tosh Deluxe has arguably been known as a bad influence to some, but him being accused of pedophilia was something that many people believed at first. And if it wasn't for Tosh defending himself, Tosh's career may have been ruined instantly. I thought it was obvious, but apparently not. I absolutely hate how all of these accusations are being flung around seamlessly to create drama for people to indulge in. The worst part is that the proof that they use can be anywhere from minimal to non-existent in general. A good example of this is the Tosh situation that was literally just mentioned. Threatening to ruin someone's reputation for life is a serious thing, so at least have some sort of tangible proof before you go on to randomly accuse these people of seeking out children or something something along those lines. Not to say that these community members can't do anything wrong, of course not. Just actually have a basis for your arguments other than something stupid like, I hate insert random controversial person, please. This isn't an issue with the minority, but with a wide part of the majority, honestly. I personally believe that all of the things I previously mentioned are inexcusable, and I'd like to think that most of you agree with me. Yet I see very few people talking about it publicly. Some people have, but it's made nowhere near enough of an impact to truly be able to say that we've properly condemned these actions, and I think this does serious damage to our community, as it could be so much more enjoyable if we properly establish that these things are unacceptable, regardless of the circumstances. We, as a community, must stand together against this minority, so it doesn't spoil the magic of Geometry Dash and its quite pleasant fanbase. Whether you're a big player or a lesser known player, your voice is important, because as of right now, we have nowhere near as much buzz about these things as I think we should. And there we have it, every issue that I could think of that the toxic minority plays a part in, or at least in my opinion. Did I miss anything? Let me know, and I'll probably cover that in another video. With all that said, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!